All right. So yesterday we talked a little bit about show, don't tell. To be a little bit more descriptive. Why does it look a little orange?
It looks cool. Ooh, red. Red. Yellow.
Okay. Have a seat, Juliana. Sit down.
I
So
love
we
it.
talked a little bit about show, don't tell. So remember, showing is painting a picture in your head. Telling is just a statement. A sad child, a happy child. Well, what did it look like? Show me what it looked like. Paint a picture in my head. Let's practice one together. Much better. Let's see. Ooh. I'm just gonna write a sick child. So before we write our sentences, let's think of some things. What does a sick child look like? What do they feel like? Let's just take some notes before we start writing our sentence. Go ahead. Anastasia.
A sick child feels like it has a fever and it doesn't feel good.
Okay, so they don't feel good.
Well,
Okay.
there's no
Yes. Oh. Okay, so they don't feel good, but what does that look like? What do you see on the person's face? So they have a fever, like you said, they have a fever. So, but what does a fever look like? What does it feel like? Yes.
You feel a little like hot, like you're cold or something.
Okay. So you feel warm. You can say you feel warm because normally when you have a fever, you feel warm. What else? What does being sick look like? If you look at somebody that's sick, what do they look like? They.
Sad.
Okay, what does that look like? What does that look like? Yes, Connor.
Well, a sick person normally looks like a little woozy or something.
Dizzy? Okay. Or have you ever seen somebody that's sick and they just look really pale? Like paler than they normally do?
That's like my sister is pale, but when she's sick, she's so pale.
Okay, thank you, Juliana. Okay, so let's take those ideas and let's put it into a sentence. So we started with our telling sentence, a sick child. We came up some things with what that may look like, what it may feel like. Now let's write it in some sentences. What are you guys gonna say? Do you want to use I, or we can use, why don't we make our sick child name Tim? Tim feels very warm and very dizzy. Let's make a sentence for him looking pale. What could we say? What can we say with a nice 7-up sentence? Connor.
He also feels witty, and he also looks a lot more paler.
Okay, so why don't we start with, okay, when you look at Tim, he is paler than normal. This is much better than Tim is sick. Tim feels very warm and very dizzy. When you look at Tim, he is paler than normal. Good. All right, so now that we did that together, I'm going to pass out this worksheet, and if you're watching at home, go ahead and get this out. I realize that this worksheet is front to back. We're only doing the front part. So it says a sad child up at the top. That's the part that we're doing. Yes. My tummy hurts. Well, we're falling apart. Did you eat enough?
Yeah, I ate all her lunch bowl and I ate all my food.
It was hanging there for a little bit longer. All right, I'm going to borrow yours, Anthony, if you don't mind. Thank you. Okay, so look at this worksheet. So at the top, it says, show me. And they gave you the simple sentence, a sad child. So before I let you write your 2 sentences showing me a sad child, let's brainstorm some things. What does a sad child look like? What does a sad child feel like? Anastasia.
A sad child feels kind of disappointed.
Okay, so it could be disappointed. Let's focus on what a sad child looks like. What does it look like? If you're looking at a sad child, what do you see? Connor.
They probably have tears.
They probably have tears. What else? What else, Connor?
They also like the eyes get very watery sometimes.
Okay, so their eyes get watery, and if they're crying a lot, their eyes could get red. Eyes are watery. And red. What else? If you're sad, do you ever just maybe go like sit in a corner and just kind of be by yourself? Okay, it could be something. So maybe you want to be alone. Or you're sitting alone. Any other ideas? What does a sad child look like? Oh, Riley. Yes. Connor.
Sad child also looks, they can also look pretty mad.
Okay, they could be mad. So we could put that one disappointed. Maybe in your sentences you want to write what somebody's sad about. Could be an idea. So what are you sad? Alright, so we kind of brainstormed some ideas about what a sad child looks like. I want you to show me what a sad child looks like. Paint a picture in my head. So when I read your 2 sentences, I know, oh yeah, this is about a sad child. Okay, it's kind of like what we did yesterday, but I want you to write 2 sentences showing me a sad child. You may go ahead and start. And we will do the rest in just a moment, but that's the only part you're doing right now. It's okay if you're still finishing this up, but just pause it for just a moment because we're going to look at the next thing. Let me erase this. So it says, Elena, blank, we need to fill in the blank. I love chocolate. What do we see around I love chocolate? What do we see? Anastasia.
Quotation mark?
Yeah, we see quotation marks. So these are words that Elena is saying, but we don't want to use the word said. We want to think of a different word that we can use in replace of said. What do you think? So if I'm looking here, okay, it ends in an exclamation point, so she's excited. What do you guys think? What other word could we use instead of said? What do you think, Addison?
Yelled.
Yelled, for sure, we could use yelled. Anastasia?
Says.
Well, we don't want to use kind of any form of said. We want to pick something different. Connor? Told. Elena told, I love chocolate. No. Yelled would work. Zane?
Shouted.
Shouted. Anastasia?
Screamed.
Screamed. All of those are good. You just pick one. Yelled, shouted, screamed. Okay. And then let's look at the next part. Begin a sentence about cooking with the word when. So I know it's kind of weird directions there, but this is good practice for our writing. So we're going to write a sentence about cooking, a nice 7-up sentence about cooking, but you need to start with this word when. That needs to be the first word of your sentence. I'm not going to give you any examples because I want you to try that on your own. Anastasia.
Do we have to write the word one again, then write our sentence?
No,
or
you don't have
just
to write the word
one?
one again. You can just leave it. Good question. And then down here at the bottom, it says be more specific. In other words, show me, don't tell me. The meal was not good. The meal was not good. Well, what about the meal wasn't good? What did you eat that wasn't good? What did it taste like? It wasn't good though. What did it taste like? Okay? So for this part, you need to have 2 showing sentences or more descriptive sentences. Okay? You may go ahead. Any questions on those? Any questions on those? So we did number 2. Number 3, you're writing a sentence about cooking, a nice 7-up sentence about cooking, starting with this word, when. And then here you're going to be more specific, more descriptive. The meal was not good. I need you to write 2 sentences to make that more descriptive. Where did you eat? What about the meal wasn't good? Was it just part of the meal that wasn't good? Why did it taste like? Maybe it smelled weird. Thank you for letting me borrow that, Jane.